It is the man who has the sperm and can go around distributing it. And he can get 10 women pregnant at the same time. Yet it's the woman who has the burden of family planning. And most times, of the world.
No, I don't think so. I think guys are always ready.
Exactly. Not in this part of the
They're always ready. Like either you touch them, you don't touch, they're always ready. 90, 70, 15, 30, they're always ready to go.
The truth is, I think a lot of women get family planning without the consent of their husbands because, okay, speaking from where I am from, northern Nigeria, there is a large chunk of people here that believe that they should just be giving birth. No control. Let's just keep whatever God gives, He wants to give us. So some women now have to take these steps without the consent of their husbands because the husbands will not agree.
Turn it up. I told you now. Please.
You are worse than me.
Another year is ending. Shey you dey whine.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Batter Box Podcast, a podcast where we cover topics covering Nigerians and Africans in diaspora. We also cover trending topics and challenges facing Nigerians and Africans at large in and out of Africa. I'm your host, Brother Mike. Yeah, so today we have Judith with us, and we also have Ore, co-host of the show. Thank you guys for being here. How are you doing, Judith?
I am peachy. Good morning, brother.
Ore, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you, Brother Mike.
Are you peachy as well?
I have no idea what that means, so I'm just happy.
Okay, happy. I will take happy. Happy is good. Happy is good. Are you guys gearing up for the elections next month?
Yes, we are. I am, for one. Definitely.
I actually got my PVC last week.
You got PVC last week? Okay. Why so late?
Yeah. That's early.
Anyway, I'm glad you got your PVC, so that's good. So you can vote. And hopefully you're not getting a bag of salt or rice.
Well, as Nigerians, we have made a resolve that if they give us bag of rice, we are going to take it and we're still going to vote for whoever we want to vote.
I love that. Okay. So your resolve is take the bag of rice and eat it and still do what you want to do.
Exactly.
That's good. That's very, very good. Good that people are not selling their votes anymore. So most people aren't. So please don't sell your votes. Just vote right and vote with your conscience on whoever you think is the best. Hopefully, Nigeria will get better.
Amen.
Yeah. So, but let's jump into it. So today we wanted to talk about the topic of family planning. Family planning is something that is not very well practiced or very much practiced in Nigeria. There's some survey out there, I'll link to that in the show notes, that says that the average Nigerian woman in her lifetime, she gave birth to about 5.5 children. In other parts of the world, other developed parts of the world, you're looking at like 1.5 or 2.5. But that's because of family planning. Recently in the US, Roe v. Wade got overturned by the Supreme Court. And there was just really, really a consequential vote that made a lot of people irate, men and women alike. And Roe v. Wade is whereby it kind of made abortion under certain circumstances legal. But with the removal of Roe v. Wade, Congress is making that go to the states. So the states now have to decide on abortion, which most states, like in the South, for example, a lot of them don't want to even talk about abortion. So in Nigeria, I know there are like abortion health clinic and stuff, although it's kind of on the low. But without jumping ahead of ourselves here, what is family planning? Can we kind of agree on what that is? I'm looking to you, like Judith, like if you can help us define that, that'll be great.
Okay, so family planning is a right of a family or a couple to get reproductive assistance also to plan the number of children they want, when they want those children, and how they want those children. So family planning is not just about prevention of pregnancy, it's also assistance in pregnancy. So it covers everything about, I want this child, this is when I'm ready, how do I want it, everything completely. I hope that was quite lay as possible. I try to make that as lay as possible.
I want to be clear that we do not have any practicing medical doctor on this podcast. And I also want to just, so if you want to, if you have any questions or concerns, please talk to your doctor or go to your family practice doctor. If you're a medical doctor, we're not doctors here, so please do not judge us. But I do agree with that disclaimer out of the way. I do agree with your definition, Judith, here. My understanding of family planning is just about controlling the number of children that are in a family. Basically, you don't let accidents happen. You control the number of children that are in the family. And there's also the idea of controlling the interval between their births. So you can have a child like 1 year. You might not want a child 3 months or 9 months later, or you might want to have a gap between them, and you can define whatever that gap is, ideally. So that's kind of a general description, I guess, or my lay definition, which is in line with what you just described, Judith. Or do you have anything to add to that?
No. Basically the same thing I would have said.
Okay.
So family planning basically involves just getting information and making use of the information for yourself first.
There are different types of family planning. There's artificial contraception, there's voluntary sterilization. There are different ways. So artificial contraception means you want to, there are some pills you can take. Then some people can, for example, decide to remove their womb or whatever. Or if it's the man, they can decide to...
vasectomy. It's just tying like the tubes where your sperm passes through.
Yes,
so
vasectomy. Thank you.
Doesn't get to pass.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so vasectomy. Yeah, vasectomy is another option for men. But in the Nigerian landscape, how's that perceived? How do people see that? A lot of men, for example, that I know of wouldn't want to get vasectomy because it's just not natural. A lot of the burdens is put on the woman to maybe take medications, for example, hormonal medications that mess with the hormones and all that kind of stuff.
I really love that point. I personally believe that we are putting emphasis on the wrong person. It is the man who has the sperm and can go around distributing it, and he can get 10 women pregnant at the same time. Yet it's the woman who has the burden of family planning. And most times these things, I think we don't have enough information about vasectomies. Vasectomies right now are completely reversible. So you can have it, and then when you're ready for children, you can get it undone.
Okay.
So I think it's a factor of information. Men just think that you're just going to get castrated. You're not getting castrated.
But is it safe?
Is it safe? Yeah, that's a good question. Is it safe?
It is safe. There are minimally invasive procedures right now for it.
Maybe not in Nigeria, though.
In Nigeria. I don't know of other states, but I know in Lagos, Nigeria, I am very sure of clinics that do that. 10-15 minutes and you're done.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what if I don't have money, given the sacredness of the economy?
Well, that's one. I don't know.
Because you have to look at the economical factors too.
The clinics I'm talking about are private hospitals. So of course, you're going to spend money. So if you don't have money, you don't have access to that. But for now.
So whatever happens to the withdrawal method?
Oh, well.
Because that's also as a man, you are scaring me right now with just the comments you made. It's like I don't want to do that. I don't know any of my friends that want to do that, and I don't recommend that for anybody. I hear what you're saying, but I'm also like, the economy is hard, and there's withdrawal method. Why do I have to go through all these procedures?
We have condoms. And condoms are affordable.
Okay, that's another method. We didn't start with condom though. We started with the surgical method, which is pretty abrasive, if you ask me, as a guy.
Actually, well, it's just an option. It doesn't have to be that.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here, talking about options. Hopefully we can shed light to the audience. So, but the surgical method is vasectomy. I don't know. There are a lot of people that don't want to do that. Guys don't want to do that. There are also some side effects, actually. So if you talk about like testosterone, for example, so there are probably some testosteronal, if I can use that word, effects of doing that. Is there? So I know you said it's not castration, but there's this stereotype about that.
Yeah.
It's just the lack of information. For now, we don't know of any testosteronal, in quotes, side effects. For now.
I don't know. I just wouldn't do it, and I don't think any guy. So I'm just saying, guys, don't listen to this. Don't listen to this advice. Again, we're not doctors here.
Are you preaching against family planning?
I'm not preaching against family planning. I just think that there are different options, and I feel like we started with the most severe, irreversible option, and so I'm a little bit concerned that number one, there's also some cultural elements to it, which somebody that has not eaten. I'm also looking at the economical part of it. Someone that has not eaten, you have to pay private school for children, or your children need uniform, or if one of your child wants to do NECO or WAEC, or they have to do G2 or common entrance. You now go and give some private school some money. Okay. Is it a matter of lack of trust? I'm sounding this in Judith's recommendation. Is it like you don't trust the bobo or what?
No. For me, I pray and hope that I get a man that is willing to do that. I just pray I get a man that is willing to do that. Once we are done having children, we don't have any business having your sperm all around.
But why would it be all around if you trust the guy? What do you mean all? You keep saying all around.
Well, I'm not saying like to other women or stuff, even for myself. Because if he doesn't do it, then the onus will be on me to go and get the other options, the other alternatives. Speaking of other options, why don't we just jump into that? So we have the IUDs, right? We have the IUDs is the intrauterine devices. Right. And we all know about we're not going to make this graphic. Let's try and keep this at this PG. But primarily, doesn't the IUDs do the same thing as the surgery? And it's reversible. You just take it out and you're back to business. Why is that not a better option than clipping things off surgically? The IUD, essentially what they do is, it's not a surgical procedure. Right. Thank you for making my point. So they just insert something in there, into the uterus. Yeah. That's what it's like. So for some women, it causes them to bleed excessively. For some, not everybody. Because there are hormonal imbalances and side effects, mood swings, all that stuff, right? And the truth is, for every method you choose, there are advantages and disadvantages. So you just go for a method that has better, like more advantages. Like the IUD, which is reversible. I've seen a lot of women that have come down with infections and... That's true, though. That's true. How about like the hormonal method, whereby is that any better than IUDs? I would imagine that's cheaper. The hormonal methods, because it is hormonal, it will alter your hormones, your body hormones. Yes, it will. And some women tolerate it very well. They're good and everything. In fact, it makes some women beautiful, glowy, and all of that. And for others, it's a concern because it can stop you from seeing your period. It will shift your cycle. For a lot of women. And the hormonal, when you are ready to have children, assuming you're ready to have children in the next 6 months, you should take it earlier so that your body can balance. We'll get that balance. In anticipation. Okay. I can relate to that. Then the one I talked about earlier was the withdrawal method, which is based on... Well, I think the withdrawal... I'm sorry? It's too unreliable. in my opinion.
Yeah, can be. But if you couple that with what they call the rhythm method, which is whereby you know the rhythm, the cycle, everything in life is in the timing. There's a particular time when the woman is most likely fertile, and a few days in a month. So that's another way of family planning. But there are these calendars that people have sometimes, or there are beads that you can count. And after you can, yeah. So that there are many ways to do this. Anyway, I'm just a little bit. For me, I think what we started with the vasectomy, and also in a way putting that on the guy, it's expensive. I mean, quite honestly, let's think about it though. Let's say you are in a relationship with a guy, and then you guys are not economically buoyant. I don't think the money is always give you to buy Indian hair. You want him to go and use that to go and do vasectomy.
No,
Are you kidding me?
I'll risk the pullout.
You what?
I'll risk the pullout.
Exactly, now because you want your Indian hair.
Yes.
I believe it's in investment. If you know what you want, you invest for it. So
well, hold on. Are you saying the Indian hair is the investment? I'm confused.
No, the other option.
Well, for me, that vasectomy is if we are done having children. Boyfriend, nope. You're not getting no vasectomy.
Yeah, but if you are done having children, naturally, speaking as a guy, your testosterone level drops, generally speaking. So you are probably not likely to want to go and spread the love, according to the way you put it.
Of the world.
No, I don't think so. I think guys are always ready.
Exactly. Not in this.
They're always ready. Like either you touch them, you don't touch. They're always ready. 90, 70, 15, 30. They're always ready to go.
So are you saying that as guys get older, the testosterone? Again, I'm a guy. I'm just laughing at the two of you here. You are saying that as guys get older,
right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thank you. So what are you saying?
They are forever ready. It reduces.
Okay, so I think what happens is, for me, in my opinion, the level reduces, the sexual urge also reduces.
Exactly, yeah. Thank you. So I'm making my point, yeah.
Hold on. I'm not done. However, a younger man, okay, considering the societal construct where most times you have to have money of some sort. The societal construct is a man has to have some kind of money to be able to fund that kind of lifestyle. So a younger man is less likely to have money to have a woman. However, the older you get, you have more money to fund it. So I don't know if I'm making sense.
Are you saying you save up for that?
I think what you're saying is that as men get older, they get more financially stable.
Yes.
And money empowers people, especially men, I guess what you're saying. So a man who's richer, unlike in Nigeria, for example, like in Nigeria, men are more like, they are more emboldened, I guess, by being financially stable. And women are less emboldened financially. So,
about cost, being cost effective, there are options that are very affordable. And in Nigeria, there are a lot of options that are practically free in government hospitals. Like the IUDs, I think they are almost free in government hospitals. The hormonal implants, those ones that get implanted in the arms, they're practically free in the hospitals. We have female condoms in the hospitals that nobody's getting or using. They're there. What other options are practically free? Even injectables are almost free in public hospitals in Nigeria.
So are you saying that the men in those relationships might be the one that don't want it?
The truth is, I think a lot of women get family planning without the consent of their husbands because, okay, speaking from where I am from, northern Nigeria, there is a large chunk of people here that believe that they should just be giving birth. No control. Let's just keep whatever God gives them, He wants to give us. So some women now have to take these steps without the consent of their husbands because the husbands will not agree. And let's not forget that there was a time, I've read the history of family planning down here in northern Nigeria. Women could not get family planning
without the consent.
Without the consent of their husbands. It's either the husbands will come to the go to the hospital with them, or send written consent signed by the husband. So these are also some of the factors why some people don't get, some women don't get these family planning methods. And then you were also talking about, I think you're talking a lot about the US. Let's come back a little bit to Nigeria. So we're talking about abortions. Abortions in Nigeria, the laws are restrictive. The laws are restrictive in that there are only certain conditions where a woman can get abortion.
Legally, you mean legally?
Yes, legal abortions. So, for example, if she has like a pregnancy that is abnormal,
topical pregnancy,
now she can get an abortion, a legal abortion in a hospital. Or if the pregnancy is threatening the life of the mother, she can get a legal abortion. However, these are restrictive laws has not stopped anybody from getting abortions in Nigeria. The only thing these laws have created or these laws have made, it has increased the number of deaths we have.
Sadly.
Of unsafe abortions. Because now you can't get it done in the hospital. So you have to go to those tiny clinics.
Some baba's place or something.
People that you don't know if they even sterilize their equipment. You don't know what they are using. Some of them will give you drugs that your womb will just cut into two. Like, these are issues we've seen. Someone's uterus womb has ruptured because of the dosage of drug that was given to her by a quack. Quacking is a very big problem in this particular issue. They just use whatever they want, and then you come down with infertility and so many issues.
Yeah, and there's no license per se.
Are you even talking of? I'm talking of someone that has not even crossed the four walls of school, asking you to lay down for him to get the child out of you. It's that funny. But these women, because they are desperate to get the child out, they would lie down for this man that does not even know his left from his right to get it done. And then they come down with so many issues.
I agree with you. And I also think down the road, if you go to all this quack place, there are some consequences in terms of when you are ready. So let's say there's someone who's 15, get knocked up by some guy somewhere, and then the mom takes them somewhere, whatever. And then down the road, when they are ready to be married, at the end of the day, they have complications from that abortion. There's also the psychological parts of abortion, the nightmares and just it's a life. Again, this is not a topic about abortion at all, but family planning can be helpful. And sadly, part of family planning is abortions. Wouldn't you agree with that? The post effect, is that right? Or am I speaking out of order here? Whereby family planning clinics also do abortions, don't they?
Okay, like we established earlier, family planning is your right to choose how many children you want, when you want them, how you want them. So ideally, from this definition, abortions should be part of it, because if you get pregnant and you don't want it, or it is not at the right time, then you should be able to take it out. But this would depend on the law of the land. Whether family planning clinics offer abortion services would depend on the law of the land. So, like in Nigeria, I don't think they do abortions.
They shouldn't, actually, because family planning is not abortion. Family planning is planning ahead. So I'm kind of correcting myself here because I'm looking it up. Yeah, so you're right. Family planning is not abortion. Abortion is the ending of a pregnancy, while family planning prevents a pregnancy through the use of contraceptive or other methods we've defined. But family planning prevents abortion by helping couples avoid unplanned pregnancy. So there's a myth, I guess, out there that family planning also do abortion, but that's also a myth, whereby in reality, family planning technically should not be doing abortions, and they don't do abortion. They just help you prevent pregnancy. So, but I wanted to focus on the Nigerian perception of family planning. What are the perceptions from people? How do people see that? I know growing up, it was something I didn't even know of or we didn't talk about. Like other parts of the world, they educate teenagers about it. They talk about it openly. It was just kind of like a taboo. We don't really talk about things like that in public. So is that your experience of growing up yourself, you guys?
For this particular topic, or this question rather, I like the fact that we are in different, or rather from different parts of Nigeria or the world.
Yeah.
So it feels like a good amount of representation.
Totally.
Okay, so I want to talk about my own place where I come from, which is northern Nigeria, how it's been perceived. Growing up, family planning used to be like that topic that we had to be hush about. I can tell you, when I was 15, I had to hide to hear my mother talk to gist with a friend about family planning. I hid because it was not a topic she would
openly
talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not really, but right now I think we're doing better. Now we can openly talk about family planning, even with our male counterparts. So it's no more a thing of hush, hush, hush. And then another issue I want to talk about is most times the people that fall prey to unwanted pregnancies are teenagers and young adults. But you would see that they are the ones that have the least information about family planning in Nigeria. Also, imagine a 15-year-old now going to the hospital and asking for an IUD inserted. Just imagine, picture it.
Oh wow, yeah, without your parents.
I'm sure they're not to be like, what? What is going on? In fact, they will start preaching to you. I've heard a story that I'm going to share of a young lady who, I think she was about 15. She went to a family planning clinic and she asked for, she wanted a contraceptive. And the nurse now sat her down, talked to her. Even though the nurse was quite polite, from what I heard, she preached to her, told her it was wrong. She wasn't supposed to be engaging in sexual activities and all of that. So the young lady thanked her, listened to her, thanked her, and left. Not long after that, this young lady came back pregnant. Asking for an abortion. This nurse also sat her down. Oh, now that you're pregnant, it's against the law, and also against Christianity, because she is a Christian, for you to get an abortion. Preached to her, blah, 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 and she left again. The next time the girl would come back, she came back. She had done the abortion out there. And there were complications. Wow. She had an infection. She had a very severe infection in her womb as a result of the abortion. And she lost her womb completely. So in this thing now, I sit down and I wonder, whose fault is it? And this is the story of a lot of other people. They may not come down with the infection and all of that, but this is the story of a lot of other people. As a teenager, I am prone to this. Why are you frowning against me getting this? Anyways, that's the issue here. And imagine being an unmarried woman down here and going for family planning. Hey, wait, they will use you to do news. So these are
Yeah, they'll just be looking at you. I can. I'm not a woman, but I can imagine that. Actually, because because I have a sister who was also kind of in that kind of situation, even though she was a Christian, but the way people were talking and stuff. But my own experience has been growing up. Personally, we never talked about it. We had like biology. I think it was in SS1.
yeah.
SS1, SS2. I think it was SS1 when we had biology. And as a guys don't develop as fast as the girls do. So we went, it was, back then there was this junior WAEC, GSS3, you do junior WAEC. After junior WAEC, you go home for the summer, I think. So he came back in SS1. And then when we came back, all the girls were different. So we're like, our girls were playing with back then you play with girls as if they are, like some girls are actually tomboys. There are girls that are very rough and, sometimes you guys will fight and they were strong, So when when we came back SS1, we couldn't play with them no more because they were different. And then they acted weird. So all the guys, we got together and then I was pretty loud. So in the classroom, everybody knows me. So I was just like, then my other guys were like, what's wrong with Tokwe? What's wrong with this girl? What's wrong with Shola? Like, what's going on? So that was the first experience that I had. I was like, okay, there's something going on here. And most guys actually, they're, I don't want to say delayed because that's a strong word. But that's just our anatomy and physiology.
Late boomers.
Late boomers, because guys, it's a little bit different for guys. So that was my first experience, but we never talked about it. Didn't know what was going on. We just knew it was weird until we got to SS3.
Wow.
When we got to SS3, then one of our classmates got pregnant in SS3. So imagine being in SS1, SS2, SS3. We just thought it was weird and awkward. In SS3, somebody got pregnant. And that was like the first time I was like, oh, family planning. Again, I went to a public school. This is in Lagos. So imagine a school with like 3,000 students, big school, lots of kids, inter-house sport, just kind of a mess. So nobody really had time to talk. Even biology, when we did biology in SS1, it was just like broached lightly. They didn't really, I don't think we even talked about family planning, really. They just mentioned like how the egg, pregnancy, where babies come from. Of course, there's a curriculum. But the only place I had experience with family planning might have been in the church. In the church, they talked about it a little bit. So we used to have like boys forum, and then there's girls forum. Like in the summer, we have a program there. So I think the boys forum, they had something like that. But they didn't even talk about family planning. They talked about like, it was weird. They talked about like masturbation and how if you masturbated, like your hand, like hair is going to grow out of your hand. So you have like a hairy palm. Then they also talked about you're going to die young or something like that. Then they said you're going to hell. So you're going to die young. They said you're going to go to hell. So my exposure to family planning all throughout like my whole Nigerian experience, zero. So it was when I went to college.
Well, for me, my parents were a little open, talking about it, talking about sex, talking about relationship. But that was when we got to a particular age, let's say around 16, they're about 16, 17, when we were already exposed. So they were okay talking about it. But while growing up, like it is, like you said, Brother Mike, the church were not so welcoming back then. And I won't blame them. And it's because then they were more of religious. If you do this, you're going to hell. If you do that, you're going to hell. And the funny thing is they didn't even know why. Because you can only buttress that point if you know why God said that, right? So they tell you, if you steal, you're going to hell. If you commit adultery, you're going to hell. But they won't tell you because they didn't know why God said you shouldn't do these things. So instead of them standing as lights to guide us, they were more of are nightmares. So just imagine someone like what Judith said, the little girl went to the hospital telling the woman, I want a contraceptive. And the woman was like, no, sit down, let me discuss this with you. The woman will have done it with the openness of her heart, clean heart. But it was more of a fearful thing for the girl, right? There's a part, I always believe God is involved in everything, but there's a part where you have to give them reasons why they shouldn't do it and not you instilling fear in them. Because when you do, they just, okay, thank you. And they'll go back. Because if you want us to be sincere, there are more people in the world than in God. So if you tell your child, do this, if you don't do it, you're going to hell. Do this, if you don't do it, you're going to hell. And you're not giving them a valid reason. Why God said you shouldn't have sex is because if you have sex out of marriage, you'll be pregnant and you won't be able to think straight. It will affect your education, it will affect this and this. If you don't give them reasons, I mean, you and I know that we want reasons. We don't want yes or no. We want reasons. So this thing has actually sent more people into the world than embracing them in the church. And now, this now brings me to my question. How can we strike a balance? How do we know what is ethical and what is not ethical? And I'll use the example Judith created, the one she gave us. This girl, she's 15 and she went to the hospital asking for contraceptive. As a nurse, do you tell her that you are too young to have it? Or do you go ahead to give her? How can we strike a balance? And also having at the back of our mind that we want to build a greater society, better society than what our parents or our forefathers created. How do you strike a balance?
And to this your question, I also want to ask another question. I also want to add another question so that we can answer it together. Or rather, it will be a context to answering that question, your question. This girl was 15. And the legal adult age in Nigeria is 18. So does that mean she's not qualified for it? And is there an age that qualifies a woman for family planning? What do you guys think? I think let's put that into perspective.
Yeah, so two questions. Number one, how do you strike a balance? Number two, when is the qualified age to ask for a contraceptive? My response to the second question might be more of a third question, which I hope I can answer that question with this question.
Okay.
What is the qualified age to get married as a girl?
Exactly.
You know, so, and I'm hoping I can answer this because if you can marry a girl who's 11 and she's a woman in northern Nigeria, why can't that same woman who is, 11 that you're marrying, why can't she ask for contraceptive at 11 as well? The question of does that mean she's not qualified? What's the age and is she not qualified? I think personally, though, back to Aura's question, how to strike a balance, it's more of your emotional composition. By emotional composition, I mean your emotional makeup. Who are you? What's your spirituality? What's your humanity? What's your compassion level? What's your empathy? If this person was your child that comes to you, how would you react? What kind of human being are you? Or how kind are you? So if someone were to, I guess what I'm saying is not necessarily a nurse or no nurse question. I think Aura was like, as a nurse, if someone comes to you, and I'm just responding to that by saying, I don't think it's a matter of whether you're a nurse or not, even though that's the context, because you're a nurse in a hospital, they won't come to me if I'm a mechanic asking for, contraceptive. So the question is a valid question as a nurse, but I also want to buttress the fact that if you remove that layer of a nurse, more importantly, it's kind of like, are you caring enough to see the humanness of this person and give them the advice they need, but also give them the option? Because like Judith said, some of these things are free. So if I'm working at, University of Lag teaching hospital, or maybe I'm working at General Hospital Bobi, or maybe I'm working at Lagos University teaching hospital in Ikeja, and somebody comes to, and the government supplies for all this. The government actually has a family planning division. Lagos State government does. And these things are free. They are there. They expire on the shelf. Somebody comes to me, why can't I just give it to them? It's meant for the people anyway. But my religion sometimes and my born againness will make me be like, oh, I know the Lord. I want to convert her, fornication and hell. And we understand fornication and hell and all that. But anyway, it's just kind of very twisted. And I'm hoping this conversation is sharing light. Go ahead, Ori.
Oh, I was actually buttressing what you're saying. It's twisted. And I believe if someone comes to me and asks for a contraceptive, the first thing I will have to realize is, why do you need it? Like you said, Brother Mike, family planning is to prevent pregnancy. So this person who walked up to me, why do you need it? Do you need it because you're already sexually active, or is a precautionary method you're trying to establish? You want to be safe even when you're not having sex. So from my own understanding of all these things, because I am a Jesus person, right? So my own understanding is you have to know how to strike a balance, and that's where you need wisdom. There's a place to rebuke and there's a place to pull the person back and say, okay, you are sexually active, you are young, you are 18 or you are 15, you're sexually active. This is what I can give you. This is what medicine is saying. This is what God is saying.
This is my
There's
job. My job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to just strike a balance.
Yeah.
Don't rebuke them and prevent them. Don't rebuke them, making them go to the world to get a better solution that could now affect everything. So you could actually do the preaching, telling them that it's not right to have sex, but in a good way, and also not belittling the truth. Tell them these things, and at the same time you can also give them, or you should actually give them, the contraceptive, but making them understand that you're not giving them for them to continue enjoying their sexual drive, but for them to be careful. So I believe, like you said, Brother Mike, is a really dicey thing. It's twisted, but we shouldn't rob Peter to pay Paul. We should know how to strike a balance.
Yeah, give what belongs to Caesar and what belongs to God. So if I was man of these shoes, what I would do, I am paid to do a job. My job is to deliver family planning services to people. So personally, I have done my research to know the legal age a woman can get contraceptives. Because if you do that, if you give it to someone who is not old enough legally, what if the parents come back tomorrow and say you are the one that is spoiling their child? These are the issues in Nigeria. However, if I was the nurse, I would counsel her. I would give her her options rather. Because the truth is, whether you like it or you don't like it, people are having sex and people will continue. It is not in your opinion. It is not in your control.
You are not judged. Who made you judge?
Exactly.
Yeah. So now that girl, what if that girl was being raped serially? It was not consensual, and she knew she was going to get pregnant, and she was trying to avoid that. So what you have done is, I don't know.
You forced her to bring the child she never wanted.
Yeah, I think the right thing would have been, I cannot disagree with you there, Judith, though, that what you said that I disagree with is that what if you give a minor contraceptive because you work for University of Abuja, family clinic, whatever. Let's say you give the minor of 12, a girl comes in, she's 12. Your comment there was that if you give it to her, the parents can come back tomorrow and make you lose your job. The reason why I disagree with you there is that your services or your job, what you're hired for, is to dispatch these devices. So I disagree because you don't know that she's 12 or not 12. You don't know that.
It's your job to know how old she is.
I know, but what if she faked it? Your job is not to be checking.
If she fakes it, right, you have documented it. So you present that in court. However, if she comes and she tells you she's 12, the judge is going to look at you like you're a mad person. So what
you are saying is ask for documentation.
Yeah.
And then that documentation, you can easily cover your ass or cover your track with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. I personally, anyway, there are people that they will bring on the minors. This is Nigeria, Nigeria. So not a lot of things are documented per se. So I'm not necessarily encouraging that you hand this to minors, but if it's a minor who's coming every day, every time, and then you try to get a hold of the parents and the parents are not available. You've reached out to them, you've tried to help, and the parents are not available, because some kids don't even have parents. You just know that. Some kids are homeless, some kids, they're in dire need, they are helpless, really. And they
Some
want to
even have
help themselves.
parents at home, but they're not responsible.
Or they are not parenting, So I don't know if it's just, for me, it's just like that empathy. And so this girl, maybe she's being raped, like you said, who knows? So giving someone contraceptive, I personally, just my own opinion, I'd rather take the hit and save a life and prevent someone from getting into somewhere whereby they go and do a D&C or a abortion that will kill them or take their life. I'd rather do that and save the child and then I'll face the consequences with that parent who's neglecting their kids down the road if I have to.
If it gets to the point of your license being seized,
if it gets to the point of my license being seized, I won't do that, but it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. I think you have to evaluate the case, and that's what I was talking about earlier. What's your humanity? What's your compassion? How good of a kind human being are you? If you have this kid who, again, I'm not talking about like a one-time person just shows up and you just hand it to people. No, but I'm talking about a specific case where you have this kid. Like your example, someone came to you and the person came, you send them and you preach to them. They came again, you will send them away, and she ended up going somewhere because she really wanted to do what's right. And I'm also weighing the consequences of giving someone who is a minor a contraceptive. What's the worst that will happen? You have two evils. Yeah, go ahead. What's the worst?
License.
What do you say?
You lose your license.
I know. No. You are talking about the worst that will happen with me and my license. I'm talking about the worst that will happen to the child.
To the child. Oh,
yes.
Oh.
I care more about the child than my license.
Well, you're going to have safe sex. That's it.
Exactly. There's HIV, there are different STDs which we've not even talked about. Then there's risk of getting pregnant, risk of doing abortion, which family planning prevents abortion. So the side effects of me watching over my license and saying, I don't care, that side effect is worse than me just handing out a pill to the girl and let the parents come and document that. And I think because a lot of us, there was this story about a woman who was being beaten by the husband, and somebody was supposed to call the police, 911, and then this person, they called 911 because they're like, somebody else to call 911, someone to call 911. So how are you your brother's keeper if you don't call 911 and you're like, oh, somebody else to call 911? At the end of the day, this lady got beaten to death, and they're like, how can you get beaten to death? Like, you're in this place where there are a lot of people. But everybody absconded their responsibility as a citizen and basically said, well, it's not my business anyways. Your mother, I'm after my license. I don't really care. I understand you can say that the first, second, third time, but if this girl is repeatedly coming to you, I think that's when you be the grown-up there and maybe try and understand what's going on. And maybe, okay, I'm going to give you this one time, but please be careful. You have to read the situation anyway. Okay, so you give it to her, your license. How are they going to, walk me through how your license will be impacted.
Okay, so you give contraceptive to a 15-year-old.
Once.
What?
One time, because you've seen her 10 times. Okay, this one time you give it to her.
Well, you have to counsel. I think they sit you and counsel you. They don't, in fact, you're the one that is going to, you're meant to choose your option. They will give you your options and you choose, right? So you hand her that information as well as the contraceptive. And then, assuming someday the mother walks in, that's even minor. Maybe that one, if the mother just sees the contraceptive, that one is even minor. Let's assume something goes south. Let's see, what could be the worst that would happen? Yeah,
I want to see that worst because I already thought through that worst. So I want to see the worst that would happen compared to the worst we know already and we've established.
Let's say the mother walks in and she finds a pill in her daughter's bag, her 15-year-old's bag.
Yeah.
She comes to the hospital and she's threatening to bring down the hospital because why would you give her underage child contraceptive? She will tell you are teaching her to be promiscuous or you are helping her to be. She takes you to court, assuming, and she presents this matter. So I think medically, there are laws that govern the medical body and all of that. So if she's underage, giving her is wrong, will I call it illegal now? I don't know the term for it. But if she is underage according to the law of that land, then you cannot give it to her, or else there are consequences. So I think there's a ripple effect all the way from our laws, our constitution, the laws that govern us. So we have to fix it all the way up there.
So I see what you're saying. What you're saying is there's a law in Nigeria that says you cannot give.
No, honestly, I've tried to research the legal age that a woman can get contraceptive legally, but I haven't found anything on that. So I assume it is the official adult age of 18 that is legal. I assume that is the age.
Yeah, but I have a problem with that again, me here being based in the US. I know kids in high school, they get condoms and contraceptives. Like, it's not really a big thing.
Like I told you.
So maybe it's in Nigeria or I'm out of country.
Exactly.
Nigeria. Yeah.
It is your own laws. Every country has their laws. And as a medical practitioner, it is the law of the land you are in that governs you.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Well, the age of consent, I'm looking that up now in Nigeria, is 18. Although part of Nigeria says 11. Some part of Nigeria, there's a rumor, I think it's 11 or 18. Remember I talked about the marriage, child marriage and stuff.
I think in Nigeria, official adult age is 18, but under the Sharia law or something like that, a girl can marry even from the age of, I think, 11 or 12.
Yeah, it's 11. Because somebody here, I'll link to this on medium.com. They said Nigeria, our giant of Africa, has the lowest age of them all. Nigeria puts the age of consent to 11. Simply meaning that if a child is raped at the age of 11, it's considered statutory rape. Age 11 and below is statutory rape. But 11, then they assume you can make decisions, even though it's still rape. Anyway, they'll try it as rape. But 11 is considered the rape. Senator Yerima was comfortable, and he married his bride at 13. So I know 16 in some parts of the US it's 16, other parts is 18, some states 21. So, but just to wrap up again, as we're kind of winding down this episode. So my comments earlier, just to clarify, I guess just thinking through this and talking to you here as a medical person that you are, I think in that case, you probably would need to stick with the law of the land. The law of the land is supreme. The law of the land is supreme, and maybe talk to the parents and work with the parents. If the parent is around anyway, you should talk and work with the parents. But if the parent is not around, something in me, I'm still like struggling to just save a life and do something about it versus just say, okay, I don't want to risk my license. Again, I'm not a medical preparator. I don't have any license, so I can just talk, but so don't listen to what I'm saying. Do what's right and best for you. That's our disclaimer. But that was a good tangent. That was very, very good and educative for me too, and hopefully for the audience. Let us know what you think, guys. Do you agree with this? What's your position? Do you agree with Brother Mike? Do you agree with me, or do you agree with Judith? Is it your license or a life? I guess, would you save your license? Would you save a life? So that's kind of, please leave us a comment, or just you can tweet us. Let us know what you think about that. Cool. So again, we kind of went over our time here. I don't know, Aure, any thoughts as we kind of round up?
No, not at all. You guys have already butchered and destroyed everything. You've shed so much light. So there's little or nothing to say.
Thank you. Judith, any final words?
I would say family planning is really something we should explore as people, because we cannot be bringing unwanted children into the world. If you want to know your options, visit a hospital. Go to a public, if you don't have money, go to a public hospital, a government hospital. These services are next to free. They will counsel you. They will give you your options, and you get to choose the safest for you. And if you have any adverse effect, something happens, you're not seeing your period or you're bleeding heavily, go back to that same facility and complain to them. They will get another option for you. Don't go and take from the chemists. We've seen cases of people that have gone to take family planning from the chemist that turned out really bad. Go to a licensed practitioner. And one last thing is, I'd say, is if you are of age and you are scared of judgment from the nurses or the doctors there, one thing I have seen, I don't know if I encourage it, but one thing I've seen some people do, is they go to a facility away from home. And some of them even give false names. As long as you are getting it, you're going to get the service. I don't have a problem with it. Go and get these services. That's all I have to say.
So what I would say is that charity begins at home. Start by teaching your children. Tell your children these things. Like, let them know from their tender ages. I always say that the generation we are in now, we are more knowledgeable than our fathers and our forefathers. So what you should have told, what our forefathers should have told our dads at the age of 18, you should tell your children in this dispensation at the age of 11. Because trust me, their minds are so developed at that young age. So start teaching your children these things from their tender ages, so that when they get to a particular level, when they get to a particular age, like Brother Mike said, it was when he got to the college that he knew what these things were about, because they were all hidden or sugar-coated. So he didn't know these things. So start by telling your children, start by telling your words these things from a tender age, so they get prepared for what is definitely going to come.
Thank you so much for that. I have nothing to add. You guys are awesome. This was just a great episode. I hope listeners actually found value out of this, and I hope this was informative, especially for those in Nigeria and also those outside Nigeria who are listening. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here, and hope you have a good new year. And please don't forget to share this episode if you are finding value. We can share it with your loved ones, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you guys, and this is Brad Mike signing out for Judith and Ore. Bye guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.